Have you ever noticed that rich people don't think about money the way everyone else does? From childhood we're taught that saving money is the smartest financial habit anyone can build. Our parents tell us to save, schools teach us to save, and banks encourage us to save even more. It sounds like great advice, and honestly it isn't completely wrong. But there's one important piece of the story that almost nobody tells you. Saving money alone has never been the reason people become truly wealthy. Think about it for a moment. If saving money created millionaires, then the biggest savers would always become the richest people. But that's not what happens in the real world. Many hardworking people spend their entire lives saving money, yet they never become financially free. At the same time, other people with similar salaries quietly build incredible wealth over the years. The difference isn't always a bigger paycheck or a better job. The real difference is what happens after the paycheck arrives. Most people save whatever money is left after spending. Wealthy people invest first and spend whatever is left afterward. That simple habit completely changes their financial future. Now, before you misunderstand me, I'm not saying that saving money is a bad idea. Everyone should have an emergency fund for unexpected situations. But if your goal is building real wealth, saving alone will never be enough. Because while your money sits inside a bank account, inflation quietly reduces its value every single year. The wealthy understand this better than almost anyone else. That's why they don't ask, "How much money can I save?" Instead, they ask, "How can this money start working for me?" That one question separates people who stay comfortable from people who become wealthy. And once you understand why, you'll never look at your paycheck the same way again. Part 1. The biggest money lie we all believe. The biggest financial lie isn't that saving is bad. The biggest lie is believing that saving alone creates wealth. For decades, people have been told the same simple formula: work hard, save money, and everything will eventually work out. But if that formula actually worked, millions of hardworking people would already be financially free. Instead, many people spend 40 years working, saving, and still worrying about money after retirement. So what went wrong? The answer is surprisingly simple. Money sitting still doesn't create more money. It simply waits while the world around it becomes more expensive. Every single year, inflation quietly increases the cost of almost everything you buy. Groceries become more expensive. Housing becomes more expensive. Healthcare becomes more expensive. Even your daily coffee costs more than it did a few years ago. But the money sitting inside your savings account barely grows at all. In many cases, it grows slower than inflation itself. That means your money may be increasing in numbers, but it's actually losing buying power every year. Imagine putting $10,000 into a savings account and leaving it there for the next 10 years. The number in your account might be slightly higher, but what that money can actually buy will probably be much less. That's why wealthy people rarely measure success by how much cash they have. Instead, they focus on how many assets they own. Because assets don't just protect your money, they give your money the opportunity to grow. And that's where the biggest mindset shift begins. Rich people don't save money to become wealthy. They save money so they can buy more assets. That's a completely different way of thinking. And once you understand that difference, your entire financial strategy starts to change. Part 2. What rich people do instead of saving money. So if rich people don't rely on saving alone, what do they actually do differently? The answer is surprisingly simple. They treat every paycheck like an opportunity to buy more assets. The moment money arrives in their account, they already know where a portion of it is going. Not into a bigger savings account, but into something that has the potential to grow over time. That's the biggest difference between ordinary thinking and wealthy thinking. Most people see money as something to protect. Rich people see money as something to multiply. Imagine two people earning exactly the same salary every month. The first person keeps saving more cash every year. The second person keeps buying income-producing assets every year. 5 years later, the first person has a larger savings account. The second person owns investments that continue growing, even while sleeping. That's the power of asset. An asset is simply something that puts money back into your pocket over time. It keeps working long after you finished working. This could be stocks, index funds, real estate, a business, or any investment that continues creating value. The goal isn't to own more cash, The goal is to own more things that produce cash. That's why wealthy people get excited about buying assets, instead of simply watching their bank balance grow. Because they know one important truth: cash sitting still slowly loses value. Assets have the potential to create even more wealth. Every dollar invested today becomes another worker earning money for your future. And eventually, your investments start working harder than you do. That's the moment wealth truly begins to grow. Part 3. Why your bank wants you to keep saving money. Now here's something most people never stop to think about. If investing builds more wealth, then why do banks constantly encourage you to save more money? The answer becomes obvious once you understand how banks actually make money. When you deposit money into your savings account, that money doesn't simply sit inside a vault waiting for you to return. Banks use those deposits to make loans. They lend money to people buying homes. They finance cars. They approve business loans. And they charge interest on almost every dollar they lend. Meanwhile, the interest they pay you is often only a small fraction of what they earn. In other words, your money is working. It's just working for the bank instead of working for you. That's why banks love large savings balances. The more money people leave sitting in their accounts, the more money banks have available to lend. This doesn't mean banks are evil. It's simply how their business model works. And once you understand that, you start looking at your savings account very differently. Instead of asking, how much money should I leave sitting here? You begin asking, how much money actually needs to stay here? Because not every dollar needs to remain idle. Some money should stay available for emergencies, but the rest can be given a much bigger job. A job that helps build your own wealth, instead of someone else's. That's exactly how wealthy people think. They keep enough cash for security, but they put the rest to work creating even more money. And that's where one simple habit can completely change your financial future. Part 4. The simple system rich people follow every payday. So what does this actually look like in real life? The answer is much simpler than most people think. Wealthy people don't have a complicated money system. They simply follow the same routine every single payday. The moment their salary arrives, they don't immediately start spending it. They pay themselves first. That means a portion of every paycheck goes directly into investments before anything else. Not after the bills, not after shopping, and definitely not if there's money left over. It happens first, because they understand one simple truth. If you wait until the end of the month to invest, there usually won't be anything left. That's why consistency always beats motivation. You don't need to invest huge amounts every month. You just need to invest before your money disappears. Many wealthy people even automate the entire process. Their investments happen automatically every payday. No emotions, no excuses, no trying to time the market. Just a simple habit repeated month after month. At first, the progress feels slow. Your portfolio doesn't look impressive. The numbers barely move. But something important is happening behind the scenes. Every investment becomes another asset working for your future. And every payday adds another building block. Eventually, those small investments begin producing their own returns. Then those returns begin earning returns too. That's when compound growth quietly takes over. And that's exactly why wealthy people trust the process. They know they're not just investing money. They're buying years of future financial freedom. Part 5. The biggest mistake that keeps people poor. If building wealth is actually this simple, then why do so many people never become financially free? The answer isn't low income, and it isn't bad luck. The biggest problem is how most people use every raise they receive. The moment their income goes up, their lifestyle goes up with it. A bigger apartment, a newer car, more expensive vacations, better restaurants, luxury subscriptions they never needed before. At first, it feels like success. After all, you've worked hard for that promotion, so rewarding yourself seems completely normal. But here's the hidden problem. Every new expense quietly becomes a permanent monthly payment, and before long, your bigger paycheck doesn't feel bigger anymore. It simply disappears faster than the last one. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest reasons people stay financially stuck for decades. Wealthy people approach raises very differently. When their income increases, their investments increase first. Their lifestyle grows much more slowly. Instead of buying bigger liabilities, they buy bigger assets. That simple decision creates a gap between what they earn and what they actually spend. Over time, that gap becomes their greatest financial advantage, because every extra dollar invested today has years to keep growing. That's why becoming wealthy isn't about earning the biggest paycheck. It's about keeping the biggest percentage of your income working for you. The people who understand this early usually reach financial freedom much sooner than everyone else. And that leads to the final lesson. The one mindset that separates people who stay comfortable from people who build lasting wealth. Part 6. The wealth mindset that changes everything. At the end of the day, building wealth isn't about making one perfect financial decision. It's about making small, smart decisions over and over again. Most people spend years searching for the perfect investment, the perfect business, or the perfect opportunity. But wealthy people understand something much more important. Consistency beats perfection every single time. You don't need to become an expert overnight. You don't need to predict the stock market. And you definitely don't need to earn a six-figure salary before you begin. You simply need to stop thinking like a saver and start thinking like an owner. Because savers collect money, owners collect assets, and assets are what eventually create financial freedom. The next time your paycheck arrives, don't ask yourself, how much money can I save? Ask yourself, how much of this paycheck can start working for me today? That one simple question can completely change your financial future. Because every dollar has a choice. It can either sit quietly in your bank account, or it can go out and earn even more dollars for you. The wealthy make that choice every single payday, and over time, those small decisions create extraordinary results. Remember, the goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to become financially free. Because real wealth isn't measured by the size of your paycheck. It's measured by how many assets continue paying you, even when you're no longer working. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more simple, practical finance videos every week. And before you leave, let me know in the comments, what's the first financial habit you're going to change after watching this video? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.